What I meant was that you should check in with me during office hours. Oh, you don't have to tell me twice, Professor L. I'll see you next week. Oh, that spiraled. I don't know what that girl's up to, but it can't be good, Professor. Oh, you sweet little innocent boy. Nonsense, my boy. It's all in your head. It's in one head, yeah. You can't fool me. Did you see the look she gave you? She's a man-eater. Whatever that means. Hello and welcome back to our channel, Lady T. My name is Nathalie and we are going to continue with Professor Layton and the Lost Future. Yes, I was going to say feature, but it's future. And we have to be at the Gressenheller bus stop. Why did I start another playthrough? I'm not sure. The story so far: with the help of the clock shop owner and future Luke, Layton and Luke return to their own time. Yes, the professor decides to drop by his office to prepare for the meeting with Inspector Chelmy. Yes, we did that. Did we already grab... I don't think we grabbed all the hint coins. There we go. There's a lady, looks like she wants to talk. There you are, Professor L. I see you've cancelled our lecture again this week. He's a busy man. Let me guess, you're off investigating another strange mystery, aren't you? Ah, Miss Stone. Hello there. Yes, I'm afraid that something rather pressing has come up. Just the fate of the world, you know. I'll be holding supplementary lectures later though, you can be sure of it. Oh, no worries, Professor L. As long as I get the credits, I don't really care. Love the attitude there. That's what you wanted, students. Now, what kind of attitude is that, Rosetta? If you want those credits, you'll have to earn them. And since your topic is the stone relics of Cornwall, I'd say you have your work cut out for you. As your supervisor, I insist that you check in with me weekly until your dissertation is up to scratch. I didn't mean to imply that I wasn't interested in my studies. Well, it did sound like that. And I'm very much looking forward to our sessions together. Oh, not every girl has the privilege of receiving private tuition from the great Professor Layton. She's really taken it. That's a daredevil, I would say. Wildly inappropriate. Don't do that with your professors. What I meant was that you should check in with me during office hours. Oh, you don't have to tell me twice, Professor L. I'll see you next week. Oh, that spiraled. I don't know what that girl's up to, but it can't be good, Professor. Oh, you sweet little innocent boy. Nonsense, my boy. It's all in your head. It's in one head, yeah. You can't fool me. Did you see the look she gave you? She's a man-eater. Whatever that means. Oh, who was that song by again? It wasn't Britney Spears now, was it? No, that was Womanizer. Love this. Oh dear. Or was it Madonna? I think it was Madonna or Britney. A puzzle. Hey, aren't you the guard we bumped into at the presentation? What are you doing here? Ah, well, as you may remember, there were a few hiccups at the presentation. Well, there was that glaring issue. You know, where people disappeared and there was an explosion. When the dust settled, the management decided it would be best to cut me loose. I'm sorry to hear that. Incidentally, I don't believe I've properly introduced myself yet. Please, sir, there's no need. Dean Dalmona filled me in. It's an honor, Professor Layton. I've actually been holding on to a puzzle just in case you happen to come by. Care to hear it? Sure. Love how all these people are just looking out for me. You've received eyewitness reports about a shady trio. They all wore red, white and green, but none of them wore the same combination. Here's what witnesses had to say about them. The men wore jackets of the same color. Okay. 2 of them had white trousers on. The larger man wore a white hat. Okay, so then we just have to change the other 2. And the woman's jacket was green. Okay, but they all wore the jackets of the same color. The men wore jackets of the same color. Now we just have to assume gender and then... And you have a white hat, so we're going to leave that. None of them have the same combination, but it doesn't mean that they can't have the same color pants or something. 2 of them had white trousers on. The large man wore a white hat. And the men wore jackets of the same color. But it doesn't necessarily specify that... Oh no, it does. They all wear something red, white and green. And then... 2 of them had white trousers, so that doesn't have to be the men. So let's say that the 2 right ones, that the middle one and the right one, have white pants on. And you have to be like this. And the large man wore a white hat. Yeah. 2 of them had white trousers that we have. The men wore jackets of the same color. Then it should be like this. Because it's not the same combination.
I've got a good feeling about this.
Yes! Woo! There we go! Smashing. For a shady trio, their clothes might be a bit too conspicuous. Perhaps. Simply beautiful work, sir. Thank you so much for indulging me. Not at all. I quite enjoyed myself. Oh, I did too. I think we can just go in right now. There we are. First we look for the picarets. Everything is recording nicely. Right? Yes, it is. That's also a good thing. Herschel, my boy, I've been looking for you. Hello there, Mona. Didn't you receive my holiday request? Oh, that. Yes, everything's in order there. It's something else that I need your help with. Well, in that case, please tell me how I can be of assistance. Come a bit closer, my boy. What am I about to ask you? Well, I wouldn't like anyone else to hear it. The thing is, I have this puzzle that I simply can't work out on my own. My darling granddaughter brought it to me, but I can't for the life of me solve the blasted thing. I can see how that could be rather vexing. Vexing would be putting it politely. It's hard to feel like the king of your castle when you can't even solve your grandchildren's puzzles. This is a rather serious issue for me, Herschel. Well, we are here. It certainly sounds like it. Yes. So I take it I can count on you to help me work this one out? But of course. Of course we can do that. It shouldn't be too hard. Here are some matchsticks that spell out 100M. Move one of the matches to the bin to display a length that is 1/1000th of that size. Are we going to work with Roman numbers? 1/1000, so it should be... Okay, I'm an idiot. So you could also say it's 100 meters. And then one part of that would be 10 centimeters. Right?
I've got a good feeling about this one.
Yes! Oh, now I feel smart again. Terrific! 100 meters becomes 10 centimeters. Sometimes I have my moments. Oh, that's it! My granddaughter's going to be over the moon when she hears how clever her granddad is. I'm glad I could help. Likewise. By the way, Herschel, I do have one more small favor to ask of you. Certainly. Let's keep the fact that you helped me with this puzzle between you, me and the wall, shall we, my boy? Of course, you may count on me. After all, you've a reputation to maintain with your granddaughter. Woohoo! Perceptive as always. And what about you there, young man? Can you keep a secret? Of course, my lips are sealed, sir. Splendid. For that you have my thanks. One last thing, Herschel. There's a young lady in your office. She said she's waiting for you. I see. Professor, he must be talking about Flora. Must he? Must he really? Hello? Oh, it is Flora.
Oh, hi there, Flora.
You two have got some nerve leaving me alone while you go off on another adventure.
Well, we didn't choose to go there, okay?
Now, Flora, you know that wasn't our intention at all. While we were out investigating one issue, an even more troublesome matter arose.
And we didn't have a choice in the matter.
What kind of troublesome matter?
Okay, hold on to your socks.
We couldn't have seen it coming, Flora. Honest.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. We would never leave you behind on purpose.
You kind of did in the last game.
Luke is quite right. Do forgive us for our oversight.
Well, okay. Just this once. But you two had better not leave me alone again.
Well, this is the last game that you're going to feature in, so they didn't stick to that promise, now did they?
Of course not.
Of course not. Of course we would never do that. Oh, piqued your curiosity, has it? It has piqued my curiosity. This almost looks like... Sorry, what did you say? What's the matter, Luke? Don't you like that artifact? It's a ghost, so that might... Thank you. Don't need that notification right now. What's done is done, so I guess there's no point in dwelling on it. You two must be awfully tired after all that running around. I just made a pot of tea. I'll go fetch it. Professor, did you just make a promise to Flora? Yes, I'm rather afraid I did, and unfortunately this is one promise I may have to break. Such a gentleman, breaking promises all over the place. Professor, that's terrible! You're always saying that a gentleman never breaks his word. Well, I didn't see you doing anything to dissuade the poor girl from coming with us, Luke. Blaming Luke? Who is the adult in this situation? Besides, you know our current case is fraught with danger. I don't want her to get hurt. We need to finish what we came here to do so that we can find the inspector. We'd best move quickly. I suppose you're right, Professor. So what are we looking for? Somewhere in my office is a leather-bound notebook with a yellow note sticking out of it. Do you think you can help me find it? Aye aye, Professor, I'm on the case. Should be here somewhere. Is this the notebook you were talking about, Professor? Why, yes it is. Let's see. Notes on the explosion at the Institute of Polydimensional Research. Did you gather the information in this notebook, Professor? I did, piece by piece. Sadly, most of its contents have been removed. Hey, you're right! Most of the pages have been torn out. It's been a while since I last opened it. Let's see. Well, the newspaper clippings are still intact at least. How old are these articles, Professor? I'll explain more on the bus. First, we need to get out of here before Flora... Oh, that's a dick move. Professor Layton, I thought you were a proper gentleman. Voila! I thought you might be hungry, so I made some cucumber sand... Huh? Where did they go? Not left her a note at all either. Okay. Of course we do. Flora was waiting for us in my office. She seemed terribly upset that we had gone off without her and has asked us not to leave her alone again. Nevertheless, with the family waiting for us in future London, it's far too dangerous for her to accompany us. Fortunately, she appears to have left the room for a while, giving us the chance to find a notebook and leave before she returns, but he did have time to write all of this down. I feel guilty for leaving Flora, but I simply cannot embroil her in such a dangerous situation. I'm sure she will understand, eventually. Our next stop is Scotland Yard, where we hope to meet Inspector Chelmy. I would very much like to hear his opinion on the events that occurred at the Time Machine presentation. I think that we should just go then. But she wants to talk. Hey, Professor L, where are you rushing off to? We don't have time to talk. We're in the middle of an important investigation. I wasn't talking to you, Shorty. Well, Professor L? We are indeed following a lead in our investigation. Right. I don't suppose I could have a second of your time before you head off, though? Didn't you hear the professor? We're in a hurry. Listen, Pipsqueak, you might think you're the professor's spokesman, but you aren't. Did you just call me Pipsqueak? Now, look, calm yourself. There's always time for a lady's request. What can I do for you, Rosetta? I knew you wouldn't let me down, Professor L. I've got this puzzle I just can't get my head around, you see? Won't you help a damsel in distress? A puzzle, you say? I think we may be able to offer some assistance. Let's have a look. If all you wanted was some help with a puzzle, you should have just said so from the start. It would have saved a lot of time with Layton. Interesting. One of the blocks A, B, C or D... Oh, inserting. Why did I say interesting? Into the space marked question mark reveals a hidden message. Touch the letter of the correct block. I think it should be an O. It's B because it looks like L, A, Y, T, N. We all know what that's going to be.
Let's see if I've got this right.
Of course we've got it right. This one was the easiest ones we've had so far. Quite right, the answer is block B, which is shaped like the letter O. When you insert the block into the space and line up all the blocks, they spell out Layton. Who would have figured? Thank you so much, Professor L. Watching you in action always takes my breath away. Awful. Think nothing of it, Rosetta. I hope to see you next week. Be sure not to neglect your studies. Hehe. No worries, Professor L. I'm looking forward to our many hours of private instruction. Oh, and make sure you leave your little friend at home next time we meet. He might distract me from my studies. I shouldn't say bad things about your students, Professor, but she is definitely not top of my class. I love that you can see the text that are coming in. Okay. We have to go to Scotland Yard. Yes. Because we have to talk. All that stuff in your notebook, Professor. What was this explosion you were researching? It all happened quite a few years ago when you were very small, you're still small. Two scientists working in a physics lab accidentally caused an explosion during an experiment. The blast devastated the surrounding area. That must have been all over the news. You'd think so, wouldn't you? However, though many perished in the blast, few records of the accident remain. What happened? That's something I'm still trying to work out myself. But answer me this, Luke. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of an explosion? Why, the explosion at the presentation of Dr. Stangun's time machine, of course. That was my first thought as well. I have a strong suspicion that these two incidents are connected. Why is that? Well, it's nothing more than a hunch at the moment, so I can't really say anymore. Oh, Professor, this is our stop. It is. Here we are, Professor. Scotland Yard. There's no time to waste. We have to find the inspector. The private inspector. We have arrived. Nothing says London like the Houses of Parliament. I was going to see the Big Ben, but that's okay too. Police stations always make me a little bit nervous. Why, Luke? What are you hiding? Oh, I pressed the button. And it worked. I love this art style, by the way. Hello, magazine. I don't know this publication. Me neither. Do you want to talk? Of course you want to talk. Welcome to Scotland Yard, headquarters of the London Police Force. What can I do you for? We're here to see Inspector Chelmy. Could you let him know that we'd like to speak to him? I see. While the inspector is always happy to meet the public, he is terribly busy at the moment. Furthermore, I'm under strict orders to issue this puzzle to all visitors. So he only wants to see Layton. In recent years, the city has been suffering from an increase in accidents and crime. According to a survey, there's one place in the city that has a higher average of injured people and deaths throughout the year than anywhere else. Where could it be? I'm sorry. Suffer an increase in accidents and crime. Where are the hints? My first thought was the cemetery, but in recent years this city has been suffering from an increase in accidents and crime. Okay, they don't say that it's abnormal. So I would say, then you would say the police station or the hospital. Okay, let's first do the hospital, and otherwise it's going to be the police station.
I've got a good feeling about this one.
Oh, nicely done. Because they don't say that it's, you know. That's right, there may be a lot of dangerous places in the city, but the hospital is where sick and injured people gather throughout the year. Okay, if you say so. That's correct. Tremendous work as always, Professor Layton. Huh? Do you know the professor? Of course, I'm a huge fan. How could any self-respecting puzzle not know the name Layton? Puzzler, sorry. I assume that puzzle was one of your own design? That's right, guilty as charged, hehe. I couldn't pass up the chance to have Professor Layton solve one of my puzzles. I'll call to let the inspector know you're coming. His office is just up those stairs. Thank you very much. He was not impressed. Hello, hey Bartels. You know, this place is tidier than I expected. Is it really though? There are less donuts than I thought, but it's the British police, of course. No, look, don't open the window. Look what's on the desk. A lot of papers, that would make it fun. We probably want to talk to you. Ah, nothing like a nice cup of tea to soothe the nerves. Good day, Barton. Oh, good day to you, sir. Barton, we wish to have a few words with the inspector, but I don't see him here. I don't see him here either. I was led to believe he was here in his office. Yes, he was. Then he got up and left. It was all very sudden. I am puzzled by his sudden disappearance. Of course you are. Barton, I sincerely hope you're not spreading misinformation about me. It wasn't 5 minutes ago I told you I needed to pop downstairs to see the chief constable. Oh, yes, you did say that, sir. Use your ears, constable. You'll never move up in the force if you don't learn to listen. Hello, Inspector. Ah, sorry about that, Layton. What a surprise to see you. Welcome to my humble office. Forgive the sudden intrusion, Inspector. I heard that you're leading the investigation into the Prime Minister's disappearance. I am. And since it's you I'm speaking to, I'll be quite candid. This case has me baffled. Dozens of eyewitnesses, myself included, and not one blasted lead to work with. Since you hear that too, I might as well hear your take on things. Have a seat. I was interviewed on the day of the incident, but maybe another chat will uncover some new theories. Let's have a chat. We've already established that you were there when the explosion occurred. Yes, I certainly was. Then you must believe, as I do, that there's no way anyone could have survived that blast. Not that quack Stan Gun, not his staff, and, though I hate to say it, not the Prime Minister. But what confounds me is that we haven't found a single trace of any of them. What do you mean? We went through the place with a fine tooth comb and didn't find anything related to the victims. No bodies, no clothing, and no shoes, not even so much as a pocket watch or ring. All we recovered from the scene was the 10 tons of scrap metal that used to be the machine. No people. There were 8 of them, sir. What? Did you just say something, Constable? There were 8 of them, sir. 8 people vanished. Ah, yes. According to eyewitness reports, 8 people vanished from the scene. That group consisted of Stan Gunn, a handful of his assistants, and the Prime Minister. Now, how in the world do 8 people just vanish? It's like a blasted magic trick. Don't worry, Inspector. From what I've heard, the Prime Minister is still alive. Huh? Ah, young Luke. Be a good lad and keep quiet, alright? The adults are having a serious conversation here. If you're bored, why don't you and Barton go and play in the lobby? Inspector, are you sure your Luke isn't making this up? There's a very real possibility that Bill Hawks is alive. What? Well, don't leave me here scratching my head like a fool. Explain yourself, Layton. I will, but I must ask a favor of you first. What would that be? Do you recall the explosion at the Institute of Polydimensional Research 10 years ago? What did you just say? I'll take that as a yes. It is imperative that I see any and all case files on that incident. It sounds like you're onto something here, Layton. What do you know? Nothing at the moment, but I have a suspicion your current case is somehow linked to this old one. I'd like to help, really I would, but those files are sealed and require top-level clearance. Even a high-ranking officer like myself would have trouble getting his hands on those. I see. I had hoped a man of your status might have the necessary clout to acquire those documents. Unfortunately, it seems I may have hoped for too much. I'm sorry to have asked the impossible of you. He knows how to play people. Wait just a moment, Layton. I just might be able to get you access to the case files. Excellent! I would be extremely grateful for that. Just one thing, though. These documents don't come for free. I want to hear everything you know or suspect about the Prime Minister's whereabouts. Of course. Once I've seen the documents and I'm sure my theory is sound, every detail will be yours. Barton, head down to the archives and find those old files. Tell them you're there on my orders. Right away, sir. Those files can't leave the archives, but you can read them down there. Take the stairs down from the lobby to the cellar. Much appreciated, Inspector. Well, there we go. Don't you have a little puzzle for me? No, you do not. Hello? Hello? Okay, great conversation this. Sorry, yeah, it's ever so gloomy. What would we do if this light went out? Don't predict what's going to happen. These shelves show just how many cases have been solved here. Now look, an English gentleman never plays around on ladders. Can I? I'm not a gentleman. Oh.
A hidden puzzle.
No, it's a hidden hint coin, that's fine too. Welcome to the archives. I've gathered all the case files pertaining to the explosion. Thank you, Barton. Your hard work has saved us considerable time. Yuck! These papers are all mildew and covered in dust. These files are off limits to most people. You're the first to touch them in a long time. I see. Hand some of those over and I'll help you look through them. Where should I start? I appreciate the offer, Luke, but I should handle these myself. They are top secret after all. Oh, of course. If you say so, Professor. He usually never asks that. Don't you ever get tired of the inspector shouting at you, Constable Barton? Oh, it's not so bad. He only scolds me when he has good reason to, which is often, unfortunately. Oh. I make a lot of mistakes, so I get shouted at a lot. He's always telling me I lack insight and don't pay enough attention. He's absolutely right. I get distracted very easily and then I make mistakes. Chin up, Constable. Everyone makes mistakes. I make them all the time. I have made some howlers, though. Just the other day, in fact, I found myself in quite a jam. Show me. Park the car. Barton needs to park his police car in the space indicated by the flag. When he encounters a cross, he has to turn left or right. When he meets a circle, he must keep going straight. Assuming he's not allowed to reverse the car, which route does Barton need to take in order to reach the parking space? Draw a line from the police car to the parking space. As you can see, the parking space can only be entered from one side. Yes. So with the first one, we immediately... Do I just... Yeah, okay. So here we have to go left. And then we're facing that way, so we have to go straight. Then we are facing that way, so we have to go right. If we're assuming that the car goes like this and not just goes straight forward. If we go here, we have to go left or right again. And we can't go straight ahead there. I assume. Like if you go this way, then you would have to go straight ahead and you can't. So we're going to the left, then we're going to the right. Then we go straight. We have to go take a right here. No, I don't think I'm doing that right. Maybe if we do it differently. If we still do this, but instead of right, we go left, then we go all the way down here, then we can go right. No, because that wouldn't work. But if we go here, yes, that's what we do. Yeah, and then we went that way. That should work, right?
This one's as good as solved.
There we go!
Phew, that's a relief.
Nice driving. Barton has to go all the way around the parking space in order to get there. Though you showed him the route he needed to take, all those turns seem to have confused Barton. He's written off the police car and the inspector's not happy. That's not good. Wonderful work. Look, I bet the professor never has to shout at you. Well, the professor's not really the shouting type. But it's true that I never leave a puzzle unsolved. I've got this reputation to uphold. Oh dear, I never considered the possibility that my clangers could harm the inspector's reputation. Don't worry, Constable, you try your best and that's the most important thing. If only I could convince the inspector to see things that way. Look, come here. I think I found what we're looking for. What is it, Professor? Show me. That file yielded some very valuable information, look. What exactly did you find out, Professor? Let's just say I'm very confident that the Prime Minister is still alive. The only way to save him, however, is to travel to the other London, where he's being held. You think he might be trapped in the future? Perhaps. This is something we need to discuss with the inspector. Okay, report your findings to Chelmy. Hey, boss. Well, Layton, did your investigation bear any fruit? It did indeed. But before I explain, please allow me a few questions. Inspector, were you involved in the investigation into the explosion at that institute 10 years ago? Yes, ages ago it was. I remember I'd just been promoted to sergeant. I see. And do you remember the names of the scientists thought to have caused the explosion? Let me think. It's coming back to me now. One was called Allen. Dr. Dimitri Allen. Weren't there two scientists implicated? Do you remember the second scientist's name? It was quite a long time ago, you know. I see you're having some difficulty remembering. Well then, what about the victims? Do you remember anything about them? The explosion caused substantial damage to the area and destroyed a nearby block of flats. Several of the building's tenants perished in the explosion, as well as one of the lab assistants. Strangely enough though, I think that both the scientists involved in the experiment survived. That was very informative. Thank you, Inspector. Right, now I've got a few questions of my own. How do you think this old case relates to my current one? This is just a theory, but I think the Prime Minister is being held somewhere beyond the influence of Scotland Yard. Do you mean to say he's being held in another country? You may find what I'm about to tell you hard to believe, but I think Bill Hawkes is being held captive in the future. If this is your idea of a joke, Layton, I'm not laughing. I can understand your skepticism. Well, thank you for all your help today, Inspector. Should I learn anything else about the Prime Minister's whereabouts, you will be the first to know. Come now, Luke, let's be off. Now wait right there, we had a deal. Surely you've got more for me than that far-fetched theory. Inspector, I've told you as much as I know at the moment. Now please excuse us. He's not going to be very happy with that now, I see. No. Anything else? Update? Yes. Inspector Chelmy kindly allowed me to view the case files for the lab accident that occurred 10 years ago. The police records were extremely detailed and I was reminded of things I had completely forgotten about. If my instincts are correct, then that dark future London hides some secrets that even future Luke has yet to uncover. I love this story so much. Now that we've got what we came for, let's go back to the clock shop. Cook is waiting for us. Righto, Professor! Love that kid. Oh. Just like that. We didn't need to go back to Gressenheller, so we can just go here. Oh hey, it's you again. Where are you off to now, Squirt? I can't say. It's a secret. You wouldn't believe it. Oh, well, I was going to offer you a puzzle, but it looks like you're in a hurry, so... What's that? You've got a puzzle that needs solving? Hoo-hoo, now I've got your attention, eh? Yeah, you always do. It's the magic word. Here are 3 sheets of transparent plastic with different patterns painted on them. If you layer them correctly, a chessboard pattern appears. The order in which you can layer them is important, and you can't flip or rotate the sheets. Which sheet A, B or C goes on the very bottom? Touch a letter to give your answer. Wait. If you can't flip or rotate the sheets. I'm an idiot. I would say C, but that's probably going to be wrong. Has this something to do with color theory? My initial thought was C, but there's no logic behind it. It's just a feeling. I've got a feeling. Oh, and it was wrong.
Let me think this through again.
So many are taken off. Oh no. Okay, it goes at the bottom. So C would make sense on the top, I would say. Maybe B?
How about this?
I just feel like such an idiot right now.
No puzzle can stop Layton's apprentice.
Well, it almost did. Oh, and there goes the explanation. Splendiferous job. Yeah, sure. We're going to call it that, aren't we? I suppose we have to head back to future London now, don't we? What's the matter, Luke? Are you scared of travelling through time again? Yes, I mean, no, as long as I don't have to do it alone. Of course not, I'll be right here with you. Our first step is to head to Chinatown to meet the future Professor Layton, I suppose. That's right, if my assumptions are correct, we'll find the Prime Minister there as well. Do you think we'll run into trouble along the way? Considering the warm welcome we received from the family at the casino, I'd say anything's possible. Look, there's no telling what kind of dangers await us in the future. Maybe it would be best for you to remain here in our time. What kind of apprentice would I be if I left you to face those dangers all alone? I'm coming with you, Professor. Let's go! Brave boy. But Flora can't come, and I think she's older than Luke. There we go. Chapter 6. Traveling companions. Maybe we will have some. Usually we stop after a chapter is finished, but we probably should. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another episode tomorrow. Have a very lovely day. Goodbye.